Hangout on Air is live. And this was a new doctor to me. I had so much trouble finding doctors, and I haven't been in New York that long, and I have been through so many doctors, and I don't think that I'm really picky. But I do need you to act like a doctor, and I've had a terrible time. But anyway, I liked her. Um, she kind of reminds me of Martina Navratilova, but much prettier. And she got a handshake like a linebacker, and I felt like saying, "Geez, I'm just a girl." Oh God. But I liked her. I like the way she talked to me. That tends to be my issue, I guess, mostly. Um, I like the clinic. It was a clinic. I like everybody that I encountered along the way. I didn't feel like I was having to supervise the staff. The last clinic that I left, the first time I went to them, when they went to test my sugar, and they prick your finger, and they use an alcohol swab. So the girl did at the previous clinic did the alcohol swab on one finger, and then she turned her back, I guess to prepare the prick. And when she came back, she went to grab a different finger, and I said, "No, that's not the one you wipe." See, stuff like that turns me off. See, now I feel like I'm supervising you, and I'm scared. So the girl today, I didn't feel like I was supervising her. Um, Another thing the same clinic did, which really sent me over the edge, is they took some blood and then they called me back a few days later to come in. And I thought they were calling to give me the results of the blood work. Instead, they had me come in to tell me that the blood had sat in the clinic too long and it was not reliable, and they wanted to take my blood again. So I sat there and I listened. and when and when the doctor walked out, as soon as he turned his back, I got up and left. They ain't seen me since. So this is the kind of thing that I go through. So I didn't feel any of that kind of dynamic today. So maybe this is the lucky charm.
Mm.
Joelle, you came to join us for the finale.
Hey, how y'all doing? How's everybody?
Hey,
Good.
Joel.
Hey, we
Good. How are you?
recovering from Trumpism, I tell you.
Oh, we haven't seen you since then. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh man, when I went to the doctor is on Union Square today. Union Square is like a popular area in Manhattan for shopping and eating, and there's a little city park there, um, and when they have like marches and stuff, a lot of times, that people congregate in that area. So when I came through the subway station there today, there was a major, major display of, the little colored post-its,
Mhm.
post-it like 1 inch squares,
Yeah.
post-its all over the wall in the Union Square station where people had written various comments about how they were feeling, some of which I can't repeat here, how they were feeling since the election. But it was really striking.
Mm. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been quite horrible.
Yeah. Well, we know we knew you were supposed to be working on election day, so you missed that session where we.
Oh God, it was just. I looked in on y'all for a couple of minutes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was just. No, I heard y'all. You was on um YouTube. I think it was YouTube for a couple of minutes or something.
Mhm.
It was absolutely horrible. Y'all went on for a long time too, because I think when I looked at it, it was about pretty close to 10 o'clock or some crap. Were y'all still on there?
Yeah, that we were on for 4 hours.
Everybody's like, it's like it's.
Yeah.
I still can't believe it.
In fact, I've been working this week on making clips out of that 4 hour session. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, no, and then I couldn't go to bed, until I heard the result, and then once I heard the result, I couldn't go to sleep, and then I had to call off work because I was sick. It really.
There's a lot of people like that.
Mhm. Mhm. I don't know what we're gonna do. I Every time I turn on the TV or my social media feed, and here's his name all over the place, I'm not gonna survive 4 years of of having Trump on my mind. I can't I can't do it.
I wonder how this is. This how white folk felt when Obama won?
Oh, I guess some of them did really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this how they feel. Oh my God, I gotta leave. What the hell are we gonna do?
yeah.
I got news for them. If having an African American president didn't help me directly to pay my bill the next day, having Trump ain't gonna help their asses either.
Well, yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff going on. Georgette,
Hey, how is everybody today?
Hey,
good. How
Georgette.
are you?
Hey.
All right.
So
Well,
where's Vanita? Hey Kim,
Vanita,
how you doing?
I'm real good. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Hi Lona, how's it going?
Good, good. How you doing?
Yep. Y'all immigration site back up yet?
It is back up. It is working.
Yeah.
and Leonie and Kim, just adjust your cameras a little so we can see your whole face. And well, Vanita, is not coming tonight. I just saw a message from her. It was kind of cryptic, but I think the gist of it was she's not coming tonight.
Okay.
And Nicole, I don't know about, but she said last week she's been involved in some meetings that are having her getting in kind of late. So we probably should not wait for her. Um,
Okay.
that's my guess. So Kim, I think whenever you want to get started, let's get started.
Alrighty. So let's see. Do you want to start with the intro? This what we always say.
Yeah.
Would you
Um,
like to do that? Oh, you're looking for it. Oh,
yeah, no, you can do it. You want to do it?
I was asking you if you didn't mind doing it. Well, welcome to the global. What is it?
Yeah, if you pull up the agenda from
Yeah,
September 8th or September 15th, you can find the outline there. And you know,
welcome to the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. We meet on Tuesday evenings. We're currently reading from Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome by Dr. Joy DeGruy. And here's my book. And so can we go around the virtual room and introduce ourselves? I'm Kim. I'm in New York. And Joel, you want to go next?
Yes, I'm Joel Jones, JJ, hailing you from Charleston, South Carolina. Just glad to be here.
Michelle?
hi everybody. I'm Michelle Odom in Brooklyn, New York.
And Michelle is our facilitator, lead woman in charge, the straw that stirs the drink. Georgette?
Hi, I'm Georgette Moses. I'm participating from Columbia, South Carolina.
Leonie?
Hello, everyone. I'm Leonie Smith, and I'm joining you from Toronto, Canada.
Welcome,
More faith,
everybody.
Leonie, more faith.
Oh, sorry.
More faith.
Is this any better?
Good. Much better, yeah.
Okay, so tonight we are reading chapter 6. Sorry about the sirens. Tonight we're reading chapter 6. It's the last chapter and it's on healing. And so I sent in the agenda 4:30, so that was a little late. Sorry about that, everybody. And so, Leonie, would you mind reading the summary for us?
Okay, I will start.
Thank you.
The African American
Wait a minute, I'm
experience.
sorry. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was muted. Can we talk about the next session for a minute in case we run out of time at the end? In terms of a date, we already picked the book.
No, what book is that?
Sister.
Oh, that one. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one. I Am Your Sister, collected and unpublished writings of Audre Lorde, edited by Rudolph Bird, Janetta Cole, and Beverly Guy Sheftow. And I'm worried about you, Joelle. But I want you to stick with us. But it is going to be difficult. But we will get you through it. That is why we are here.
Yes.
Okay.
So, so I'm just wondering what thoughts you have about a date to start session 8.
January? January?
It works. It's okay with me. Any other thoughts?
So are we looking the first or second or January?
Probably looking about the January the 10th.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Okay. Yeah.
Cause that Monday is New Year's, and That's good.
Okay.
All right, that works for me.
Does that work for everybody? Tuesday, January 10th?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, thank you. Kim, back to you.
Oh, thank you. Back to you, Leonie. Would you mind reading the summary?
Will do. The African American experience has produced the most resilient and magnanimous people. From the beginning of American slavery in 1619 until the ratification of the 13th Amendment in 1865, Africans were hunted like animals, captured, sold, tortured, and raped. They experienced the worst kind of physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual abuse. Dr. Joy DeGruy, Leary painstakingly outlines how severely traumatized it was for enslaved Africans. She includes 100 more years of institutionalized subjugation through the enactment of black codes and Crow laws, lynching, and she shows how, even today, the violations continue. In Chapter 4, she discussed the 3 primary patterns of behavior associated with post-traumatic slave syndrome: vacant esteem, ever-present anger, and racist socialization. In Chapter 5, she discussed the manifestations in our culture today. It is now time to consider reestablishing new, healthy patterns of behavior to be the foundation upon which a new and powerful legacy can develop. So it is only fitting that Dr. Joy DeGruy ends her book, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, with a final chapter on healing. The multi-layered approach that Dr. Joy suggests in building the relationship with self, enriching relationships within the family and the community at large.
Thank you, Leonie. And now, the section A. Joel, would you like to read that for us?
Section A,
Yes, and the 3 questions.
building self-esteem. Beliefs are powerful. Mostly it takes perseverance and patience. Self-esteem has to do with our evaluation of our personal worth or value. For some, building up their esteem may take years, and some families may even take generations for their esteem to stabilize. 1. Are you destroying or creating esteem? Do things get worse or do they improve around you? What people can you think of that are building, and what people are do you think are destroying, and why? 2. We spent too much time focusing on the negative and take the positive for granted. Do you see this in our community? 3. Are you comfortable giving and receiving praise? Interesting. Um, Anybody want to go there on that first?
Well, do we have a timekeeper? Would someone like to be our...
I'm the timekeeper.
Oh, thank you, Joe. That's right. That's right. Okay, so who'd like to share on any of that? The question, the summary, or the 3 questions? Thanks, Michelle.
You know, I can always pull something out. Well, I think, you know, I had read the book shortly before we started session 7. And so I knew that she was going to come back to self-esteem as a critical element in healing. And that is why I think I wanted to incorporate into our agenda as a regular feature, a segment called Building Self-Esteem. We always ran out of time, so we never got around to doing it. But my point then and now is that I do think it's very much a matter of habit, and that we have to actually train ourselves, with the sort of, stilted kind of way in which things come off when you're not exactly comfortable with them. But I think that we have gotten so used to tearing each other down that it will take an actual retraining to learn how to build each other up.
Anybody else? No, I can go. I know for me that when I'm speaking to African Americans and they start saying these absolute statements about us that are negative, I don't stand for it. I just say, you may need to use the word most or some, but you cannot say all and not include me. And I don't think that I'm that represent that person. And so I've been doing this for about a year, and I'm finding that less people actually talk to me.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it means that you have to take some responsibility. And I've had people here in my house, and I would just say, you can't talk negatively about African Americans in my home. It just doesn't work for me. And they don't even hear that they are saying these things that are so negative because they don't include themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's this weird dichotomy of, you're saying that all African Americans don't stick together, we can't do this, we can't do that. But that person who's speaking is an exception to what they're actually saying.
Right.
You're somebody who is powerful, who's always on the protest lines, who are always doing the thing, but that negative talk, it just my ear doesn't like it anymore. I just especially if my child is around, I really have to stand up and say something there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my ear doesn't like it either. And it's really overwhelming. It's at a point where it's overwhelming. But I think I think a lot of it just seems to come from copying each other without, like you're saying, the person is accepting themselves, without really giving thought to what the things that are coming out of our mouth, And so when you interrupt the process, like you do, Kim, it gives people a chance to think. I hope it does. I think it does. And I think it's going to be, two things I want to say. One is that, I think that Dr. DeGruy did really an excellent job of describing some of the problems in the Black community in a way that is really compassionate and tender, and was not demeaning. And I think a lot of times what I see going on is we're trying to express our concern or our frustration about a particular thing. I'll give you an example, Georgette. Georgette sent me a video today or last night of a young man who is very frustrated and angry with the Black community he has a lot of technology skills, app developer, and that kind of thing. And he has found it, I guess, impossible really to find a community of activists and business partners who grasp um, the capacity that he has and is talking about. And so he's naming names, and he's pouring out, all of this frustration and anger through this video. Um, and I understand. I understand his frustration and anger. And I don't know if you saw my reply, Georgette, but I was saying, I think what he's missing is what I have been missing as well, is a real understanding of just how severe the PTSS is in our community. And that it's not, it's not just something that we're going to wake up and heal from tomorrow. It's not just something that we're going to scream at each other, and bully each other into healing. That it really is a big, big deal. And right now it is a big, big barrier. The post that Georgette posted that video on was related to an article that I had posted about the need for Black people to try to work together in unified ways in this Trump era. But the reality is, because of all the barriers that stand in our way, that's easier said than done. Since I got beat, I will stop, Joel.
So if you want more time, I mean, hey,
No, I'll come back to it.
I'm just a keeper of the time. I don't own it. But if I may, I believe that self-esteem, especially if you walk around without skin, you have to have you have a lot of it. You just don't realize you do. Just to walk out of that door, it takes a great deal of self-esteem. And I think that um, it's just like with going on to piggyback on what Michelle's talking about with the Trump. I mean, we've had racist presidents before, but I think a new twist that's been put into this one is that this guy is openly against women and homosexuals and whatnot, and these people have had their voices, and now they're going to have their voices possibly stripped away. And then I think that's where you're going to see the banning of people come in for that common for that common goal to stand with minority gays and women standing together to fight against this type of person that it appears that I believe wholeheartedly who he is who he say he is. And I believe that you focus on the negative because it's in your face every day. I think news medias and whatnot, they focus on it. I try myself to focus on the positive. I just like Kim, trying to get people to say not all black folk, because a lot of things that we do as a people, I don't see it around the men and the women that are in my circle, but I know it exists. Like y'all have heard me say before, I don't know any men that are deadbeat dads. All the men around me take care of their families. You know what I mean? But I know that I know that they're 70% of all of all black kids are being raised by a single parent, but I know all people. Most of the people that I know have two family households, but I know they exist, but I think that, you know, as we go through the day, I think, we try to keep a positive spin on stuff and, self-esteem, you know. I think if you a person that is not positive, you will be alone all the time. People after a while, people get tired of being around a wet blanket. You know what I mean? I hurt myself beat. So.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Well, I'm going to go to question number 3. Are you comfortable giving and receiving praise?
No.
Okay. And that's always been, and I'm not exactly sure why, always been a problem for me. I don't mind praising other people and giving them, their props for something I think they've done well. Or even if they just tried to do it well, I'll boost up, try to boost them up. But I can't, I feel uncomfortable receiving it because I don't think, well, okay, first of all, I'm from New Jersey, and I immediately go to, what do you want? What you trying to pull? Okay, what is this about? What is this really about? No. But I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable. And that is probably a self-esteem issue, which I guess I've been working on most of my adult life. And I have to say, post-marriage, because that's when my self-esteem went downhill. Okay. Well, because you can be with people, and I'm going to piggyback off of what Joelle said about being with people. But if you're with the wrong people, your self-esteem can be crushed. If you're with the right people, it can be enhanced. So misery loves company, but if you recognize it, and if it's not what you want, it's time to make a plan to get away, change your situation. So, I mean, it's about reflection. If that is important to you, if you see building your own personal self-esteem as a way you can improve your life and the life of others that you love, and into all the way into the global community on every level, then you'll take the time and develop those skills, because it is a skill, and it's daily with people who are not in control, who look like the people who are not in control. Okay, because you're assaulted on a daily basis in all types of avenues, wherever you are on this earth. You're told that you're not as good, for whatever reason. Even if you're better, you're told that you're not as good. So you second guess yourself all the time. Is it good enough? Okay, why did they not accept what I did? Wasn't it good enough? Okay, yes, it was. That's their problem. We'd make it our problem instead of realizing it's that person's problem. It's that group's problem. It's that country's problem. Why they won't recognize the humanity in others and just let them live and grow. What's wrong with letting somebody be as good as they can? That enhances you in one way or another. What you sow, you reap. So I guess here with Trump, I don't know what we sowed. I thought we were trying to sow some good seed, but we came up with a lot of weeds and rock. I don't know what happened. But I hope I spend more time focusing on the positive. And that is daily battle also. And like Michelle mentioned, she tries to be an optimist, because if you don't, what's the alternative? You're going to be suicidal and psychotic, and you'll contribute to the rest of the craziness that's going on in the world. And you won't be able to use your gifts, because everybody has a gift, to enhance your life and the lives of other people. So, yeah. Introspection and practicing esteem building skills. That's what I say. And start with young people, because they need those skills right now. And my little granddaughter in kindergarten is I see her tripping because she has a friend who one day she says, "You're my friend," and the next day she says, "Oh, you're not my friend today." And I'm like, how do I help my grandbaby deal with this psycho chick, okay? Who is obviously being raised by another psycho chick, okay? Without violence, because I know what my mother would have said. Punch in the nose, no, but we can't do that. Can't do that. We're raising a non-violent baby who will pull out her taekwondo skills later. Absolutely necessary. Okay, I'm done.
Well,
You
this
just
is
like
first,
hitting that beat, right?
no, this is the first time in a couple of years. Georgette, do you need a couple of minutes, a few more seconds? You never done that for her before.
No, I'm done.
Oh, thanks, Georgette.
I just wanted to add something, if I could.
Oh, sure.
I especially like the piece that you raised, Michelle, around tenderness. I think the role of tenderness is so important. I've had so many lessons recently that have taught me that, and I feel like it's a lesson that I continue and eagerly want to learn. I mean, there's so many attributes that are meant to positively describe us, whether it's the idea of, like, you know, Black superwoman or being a man, or all these things that speak to strength, but they really are acts of tenderness. And so I think that there needs to be this idea of tenderness, because in addition to accepting new beliefs, we also, and I think something that Dr. DeGruy points to, is that we also need to learn how to let go of beliefs, the ones that have been acquired through being in the soup of racist socialization and white supremacy. And that's going to be tough, because part of identity that we hold as individuals, and that is held, and that we hold as a community, comes from those really dark and dangerous places, from those ideas, those racist ideas. So it's work that needs to get done, right? That whether it's what some of you have shared around, you know, reflection or introspection, that there's work that has to get done in order to change those beliefs and to acquire new beliefs that are actually steeped in reality, not in the kind of environment that we live in that is so afraid of looking at reality and of as it, or being confronted by it. So I think it's important, because it means that for however long Donald Trump president, I think the piece that I'm picking up from Dr. DeGruy is that, like, someone like him can't be the entire object of our attention, that we have to start with ourselves first, right? So it's kind of like, what work am I doing as an individual to address those beliefs? What work am I doing in my roles as, you know, as a boss, as a, you know, if you're a mother, as a daughter, as a friend, as a, you know, what role, what work are you doing in whatever roles that you have to put the attention on the things that are within your control, that the focus just can't be on Donald Trump, right? You have to start with yourself first.
Absolutely.
I guess I just wanted to add, for me, the praise, I'm someone that does a lot, takes a lot of action. And, you know, my daughter was saying to me that she found that me to be critical. And I was shocked by this. You know, she's just like, well, everybody else is so excited for me that I'm an honor student except for you. And my whole goal was, what's the next thing for you to accomplish? Let's make sure that when it's time to compete, you're ready. And that's what I was hoping to do. But then when she said that, I realized I treat myself the same way too. It's like, what's next? What's next? So I'm also learning to slow down and say, well, let's praise everything and not to compare my baby steps with somebody else's giant steps and vice versa. You know, and so one of the things that I love doing is every Monday I have somebody every morning that I talk to. We're action partners, and we just kind of outline what it is we're going to accomplish that day. And one of the things that I do every Monday is make a list of my accomplishments. And the list is always so long. And now it's starting to compute in my head that I actually, like this call will be one of my accomplishments. And that I'm actually moving forward with things. So I love that. I love taking the time out to say, what did I do this week that I'm proud of? And I'm a better parent for it because I'm not beating myself up that, I was saying, read the next book. Come on, girl. Come on, jump higher. But I'm just very, very, very grateful that I got the message. And now I can actually be a little softer, like Michelle was saying. It's a level of tenderness that I think that not having the tenderness also comes from the post-traumatic slave syndrome. That we couldn't afford the tenderness. You had to survive emotionally. And so now I think there's time for tenderness.
You know what? Y'all done got into January already. All this tenderness and shit. What y'all talking about?
I little tenderness.
I'm like, Jesus, tenderness? What? The owner said a tenderness. I'm like, tenderness? What are you talking about? Where did you get this out of here? Tenderness? What the hell? All righty. We're already into January.
Maybe weary. Some girls we do get weary.
Are y'all gonna be crying and stuff, and I'm not gonna know what's going on and all this kind of stuff in January?
It's after 7. We'll move on for Joel's sake.
We might go out.
I'm bringing out some woo 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 woo. Woo, 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 woo.
You go
Bring on some Jeffrey Osborne and some shit. Woo woo woo.
You're crazy.
I can see that. It only came with the tenderness. I'm like, tenderness? What the hell is going on here?
Try it. You might like it.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Jack, can I ask you to read next?
Sure.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Taking control of our inner world. Doctors have found the stress hormone, cortisol, a chemical in our bodies that clouds our ability to be rational. For many people, the effects of this stress hormone begin before they are even born. Remember, it is almost impossible to think rationally when you are angry. Find a way to wait until you become calm. Once you've calmed down, you can plan your response, and more often than not, you will find you have many options. Do you agree? Self-care is a revolutionary act. Getting enough sleep, exercise, eating well, and reducing stress all help us to be our best, especially when we are emotionally assaulted. Another important step we can take to make our lives easier is to manage our finances in a way that creates stability and wealth. As the quest for material possessions has led to frivolous spending and a perpetuating cycle of inherited debt instead of bequeathing to our children the fruits of our labors. So true. Wow. So knowledge is power. Absolutely. If you can understand how your body works, as in cortisol, that stress hormone for good, it does have some positive, but it also, out of control, it becomes negative and destructive in your body. And then recognizing that self-care is not for just the rich, the people who have a lot of time. It's for everybody in order for you to be able to operate in your environment. You have to take care of yourself. What do they always say about the caregiver? If the caregiver doesn't take care of themselves, how can they give care to, you know, their family or the person they need to take care of. But they never do. They never think about themselves until they're almost dead. Oh, why am I almost dead? Because you have to take care of yourself first. And it's so hard for us to do. It's so hard when you, doesn't that sound strange? Because you're a caregiver is the type of person who's giving, you know, big heart, emotional, but yet the main person they need to take care of, they're not caring for them. That's it. I'm not a psychologist, haven't had the class, but I think that's interesting, you know, irony.
Well,
And, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. And then I was going to say about the stability of creating wealth, generational wealth. Isn't that what the people who are in control have done? They manage all kind of loopholes so that they keep that wealth in the family. Meanwhile, the people, the working class, and then below there, the working poor, and then the just absolute poor and destitute, haven't got a chance. Because you don't have enough time to take that valuable resource. How do you pinch off the valuable resource to invest in something? You know, to make that sacrifice to buy a property or invest in a business when your light utilities are going up because the utility company wants to build another nuclear plant they really don't need, South Carolina, and you know, and now your light bill is like 3 and 4 figures. Okay, you know, this country is about removing the wealth from the majority of the populace. You know, how do we get that back? We have to make sacrifices and educate ourselves on how to wisely invest our small resources. If that means combining them, you know, in a group, an economic group, if you can find one which goes back to Black people working together or people of color working together, and you know, people you trust that won't take advantage of you or run off with the secretary with your investment money. Okay, which is quite possible. Okay, so yeah, all important points, you know, in controlling your environment. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, Joel, can you stop the beeper? I'm only gonna make a point about it because you know I make clips out of these videos, and really, I can't separate out that beat from whatever it is Georgette is saying. So I'd rather have you just say, okay, the beeper's off. Georgette, do you need more time? Let us have a break because I can create a break like that, but I can't separate the beep from whatever she's saying. So one of y'all needs to stop.
Okay.
On that point, racial socialization, I thought as I was reading over it again today, that part about the American dream was interesting. From the perspective of this Trump era. God, I hate saying that. I have to find another way of saying that. But anyway, this period that we're in right now, which will hopefully be short-lived, but of you know, the white Americans, and I don't think it's all of them that voted for Trump, but that segment that voted for him thinking that he is going to give them some level of economic health that they feel they have been missing. You know, so it just had me thinking about how invested that kind of a person is in the American dream, and you know, and how much of a disappointment it is for all of us when we have to come to grips with the fact that it is a dream. In some cases, a nightmare. So, you know, so I don't know. So, yeah, I agree with her, though, absolutely, that you know, that it has also been an issue for a number of like middle class type Black people that have invested in that American dream. And I think that we have to be careful when we think about um, generational wealth for our children, and certainly we want to do whatever we can do to help secure our children's future. But when we think about the things that this country has done in order to position some small minority of people to have the kind of wealth that they have, and when we think about the crumbling nature of the American dream, and you know, and how our world truly is becoming more diverse and economically stratified, and what all that means, and so I don't know, how do we work towards securing our children's future without perpetuating some of the
Time, would you
really,
want more time?
second, some of the really problematic aspects of our modern economy.
Anyone else?
I think that's an interesting. I think one of the things that I think is missing in this chapter of the book, or this section of the book, is kind of more practical steps. Like, I just feel like there is a bit of dare I say, elitism in the strategies that she suggests, because I think a lot of people grow up, are in communities where you may not have access to somebody that you can go to listen to your problems, or where you can get empathy, or you may not know who to turn to if you're looking for financial advice, you know, because I think, the idea of kind of like worrying about inherited wealth when you're paying the light bill late to get the rent paid there's a big disconnect there. That being said, I think that help can be offered, or that idea of kind of like of education or just skills can be offered for that set of problems. And I don't know where it would come from, because if you think about, most people access, like, school would be the institution that people would access. I don't think that school is necessarily a place where people who would need this advice the most would get it. So I don't know if it's in churches. I don't know where, you know, kind of where that would live, because the knowledge is definitely there. There are plenty of Black people, and even white people, or people of other races, who are interested in the idea of, you know, whether it's food security or income security, whatever their jam is, so there's enough knowledge there, but it's about how to bring that to people, and then also how to prepare the people to be able to hear it, right? Because, you know, you can't just go to a grown person and say, this is how you save money, if they feel like they're being spoken to like a child. So there's an approach that has to be there, and an attitude of inclusiveness and respect that's needed. I'm hoping to see a lot more of those conversations happening now that the shock of a Trump presidency is alive in America. Because definitely the pieces are there. They just have to come together in a way that will actually bring about change.
right? The pieces are there, the plans are there, and you know, I too felt like this section was a little plan light, but
Mm.
um, but then when I thought about it, you know, I thought about there's so much stuff out there um, that we're not reading, we're not following, we're not implementing. And what gets in the way is PTSS. You know, now I know, you know, it's the theory, but, you know, I'm sure we have all seen many of the behaviors that she described in this book and then some. And I particularly have seen it play out um, in 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 the workplace among Black people, um, where our ego is so huge, it's so tender, it's so weak, it's so needy, um, that gets in the way. Where our mental health problems are so big, so huge, so prevalent that gets in the way. You know, so it's not really that we don't have the knowledge, skills, talents, you know, etc. to do a lot of the work. But if you don't factor in all of these other things that get in the way, that's what's stopping us. And I think that is a very complex, very, very knotty problem.
Yeah.
Well, if I may, I think that, you know, the author may have been thinking of the people who was reading the book, you know, because I think a lot of these things that we look at on a macro level, you know, when it comes to our people, our folk, is and like Leona said, you know, the pieces are there, and they've always been there. And one of the key components, we always go back to the foundation of our first meeting place as a free people, is the black church, you know. But unfortunately, we don't want to straighten it out. You know what I mean? You know, where a lot of, you know, and it's not all black churches, you know, to go back to what Kim say, but I want to lump all of them in there. But there's anecdotally, I can see a lot of them in my area that, you know, their powers are, a lot of these leaders in them use their powers for evil. You know, the information that we could get out on wealth building and exercise and self-esteem, and they are using it for their ego. You know what I mean? And you know, you find that, you know, it's, I'm sure that you're racing through your mind now, you know, how much power, you know, a lot of these churches have, and some a lot of them do use it for good, but there's a great deal of many of them down here that quite frankly, they don't use it, you know. And the wealth and the information that's getting out doesn't get out because, you know, they have their own agenda.
Mm.
Not to throw everything at the church's feet,
Well, no,
but
we talked quite a bit about the church. Was it last week? I think, or the week before. Um, so, but you know, I would just say, even with that I think for a lot of reasons, the journey that we are on, or the stage that we are at in our development as a people, is a very individualized, personalized journey. And I don't know if we are going to make it to the other side. But if you take the church, for example, we can keep blaming those rotten leaders who lead us astray, or we can do the work of trying to understand why we as individuals tolerate rotten leadership, why we as individuals are waiting on a leader to come and tell us what to think and what to do. And it's it's a much harder discussion, and I think it's a discussion that we have to have with ourselves, a very personal process, a very individualized process, and like Leonie talked about, and how you talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, we're all someplace different. We're all someplace different. So yeah, we have all these educated people, all these skilled people, but we also have this culture that has has come to disrespect them. Sometimes deservedly so, sometimes not. And so, so they're not talking to each other. They're not, So the church is one example. Another example is when I think about the level of damage that was done by things like COINTELPRO, damage in our ability to know who we can trust. COINTELPRO was a government program that infiltrated Black organizations with spy types, and they're intentionally to cause disruption, and to destroy organizations like the Black Panther Party. And so we got to this point where you don't know who your real friend is. You don't know who your enemy is. You don't know who you can trust. You don't know what's real. We scroll down our Facebook page. There's so much disinformation there and fake news. We don't even know what we're looking at any given moment. And so to me, the only way to combat that kind of a war is to work very personally and individually on our own development, because I know I can trust me. I know who I am. I know what I'm thinking. I know what I'm going to do. I don't know who you are. And that is the intentional design of all of the propaganda and all of the what's the war term, Joelle and Georgette? All of that is intentional to get us to the point where we can't trust each other. And so if we can't trust each other, we can't move in a unified way.
Divide and conquer.
It works.
Yeah, it works. Yeah. Okay, that's it.
One of the things that when I heard her talking about your finances and leaving something to your children, it was also the modeling of what you do with your money and the decisions that you make. And so I would love to have heard more of a plan, because I'm not sure how many $1 trillion African Americans spend a year, but some of that needs to, we need to look at where all that goes. And there's a minister here in Brooklyn that he does a report in terms of where we spend our money and how we spend it. And for me, that's looking at that report and saying, well, why are we spending so much money in fast food restaurants is there another alternative? Is this an opportunity for us to open a business? And one of the things that for me has always been a concern is that I have to model to my community that I'm not one of the Atlanta housewives that every time I get a nickel is not going to buy some designer thing. That's not what I value. And so when you see people who have so little, and I just want to jump back for a second. There's something about me as an African American. I always want to look good. There's a shame in looking poor. You know, just not having all that you need. So I will find stuff on sale, and I always want to present the image. But at the same time, I'm not giving anybody my money to do it. I might wear something 5-6 years. As long as it's not raggedy and it's clean, I got it on. So I think that's what I wanted to say to my kid. Don't give all your money to somebody outside your community, because it takes away from your ability to build wealth. And that's what I was hearing when she was talking about making sure that you're paying your bills. If you can't pay your bills, then you can't afford to get your nails done. You know, you gotta do them yourself.
All right.
Maybe once you start doing them yourself, you might just keep it up. So, I mean, you don't want to see my hands. So, so I just love the idea of understanding that every dollar is a vote for something. It's either a vote in your camp or it's a vote in somebody else's camp. And I love what Leonie was saying in terms. I missed the pronunciation name. I'm sorry. Leonie was saying about how do you talk to people? Because I didn't find out until Trayvon Martin's murder when we were boycotting Burger King. And I did not know that the majority of fast food restaurants are in Black neighborhoods. Didn't dawn on me that we are under surveillance and that every dollar that we have, somebody wants it. Because there's that expression is black gold is gold in the ghetto. So it's just amazing to me that we could try to figure out how to be more strategic with those dollars. And how do you then talk to people? Because I had no idea that if I went into other neighborhoods that they didn't have as many fast food restaurants as we have. I had no idea.
Or bars,
somebody
or
had to
liquor
show me
stores.
that. Huh?
Or bars, or liquor stores, or churches.
Yeah.
Hey, check this out. The NAACP reports currently a dollar circulates in the Asian community for a month, the Jewish community for approximately 20 days, and the white communities for 17 days. How long does a dollar circulate in the black community? 6 hours.
Ah!
Wow.
We have African Americans buying power is $1.1 trillion. Only 2 cents out of every dollar an African American spend in his own country go back to his own businesses. It's going up to 1.4 trillion. We spend the bulk of our money in hair products, beauty products.
Yeah, that's got nothing to do with post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Well, it really does. It really does.
I mean, I was being sarcastic. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. And they say that, the report goes on to say that blacks watch more television, 37% more. We go on shopping trips, eight more than the average community. We go on approximately 156 shopping trips a year. We read a lot of financial magazines, 28%, and we spend more than twice the time at personal hosted websites than any other group, like Facebook and stuff like that, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, they know how,
What's really
sociologists, they know exactly how we roll.
Hmm.
I think what's really interesting with that kind of data, like even to your point earlier, Kim, about fast food restaurants, it's like you know that there's a gap there. So it's kind of like, again, to be positive but also practical, what would it look like to address it? So, the appeal of fast food restaurants is that it's fast, there's little effort to it, and that it's cheap.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like, what would be the flip side in terms of building, for example, meals that could feed a family that are just as cheap as fast food restaurants, which we know that the ability is actually there to do that, but that's a skill that someone can be taught. So the question is there someone who can teach it? And is there a way to connect those two people together, right?
Well,
I'm just thinking,
Well,
yeah.
yeah,
that's hard to do
well, yeah, and
because they
the
don't use real
reason,
food.
the reason that you don't hear me, really trying to engage in a problem solving process per se, um, is because it doesn't make sense to me for us to keep recreating the wheel. It just, it doesn't make sense. When I say that the plans are out there, they are out there,
Hmm.
but we have to read each other.
Hmm.
We have to stop wanting to be the one to say, oh, I came up with the idea to save Black America because nobody else could think of it. It's been thought of. And so we have to read each other. It doesn't have to be my idea. I can take this idea that this brilliant Black thinker over here came up with, and I can put legs on it and feet on it. You know, and that to me is what we're missing. We're missing those
Mhm.
people who are willing to be the doers because everybody's trying to be the thinker.
Yeah.
Do any of y'all know Claude Anderson's plan, Powernomics?
Mhm.
Dr. Claude Anderson. Well, he's got a brilliant plan around, he did his research and found out how much fish Black folks like to eat. And he's got a brilliant plan, which I believe he has started implementing, um, around creating these fish farms, employing Black people, doing the restaurants, the whole bit. And it's a national program that he envisions. But somebody's got to do the work. And that, all of that, I guess, is another thing that leads me to reading for change. I don't understand what, we're not going to turn on CNN and NBC and major media and find the information and ideas that are relevant for us, for our development. We have to seek it out, but it's out there. And so to me, when we don't seek it out and we keep acting like every session is a brainstorming session, well, let's see what we can think of to solve the problems of Black America. We are engaging in PTSS because it's like we're saying whatever our brother or sister thought of is not good enough.
Hmm.
And then we got brothers and sisters who thought of things and they're like, well, unless I'm getting paid right, you can't use my intellectual property. You know?
Mhm.
So, I don't know, but I'm just saying, and I'm saying it from the perspective of someone with a master's in public administration that has studied all kinds of community development plans. The plans are out there. We got to stop acting like we don't know that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So we'll move on a little bit. It's getting Michelle, could you read number C for us and the questions?
Okay. Racial socialization. The poorest, most ignorant, ill-tempered white person still believes themselves to be better than anyone not white. Many of us behave as though we believe that white is somehow better, that we are the deficient people that white people say we are. This is one of the most insidious consequences of post-traumatic slave syndrome. At the same time, many of us also believe in the illusion of the American dream. Question 1. Is it possible to have grown up in America and not, to a greater or lesser extent, believed in the American dream and internalized America's racism? 2. Telling the truth about the world. At what point do we begin to tell our children the stories of their people under the harsh lash of racism? How has hiding these tragedies impacted the way our children see themselves? 3. Modeling. Do you agree that through achieving moral and material successes, we can go a long way toward destroying the myth of powerlessness and demonstrate, by example, how to accomplish life goals? It is important that in whatever venture we pursue, whether completing school, advancing in a career, or raising a healthy family, excellence should be the objective.
Hmm.
Well, I definitely think that excellence um, is extremely important. Um, Character, integrity, trustworthiness, all of those kinds of character traits, I think is where the focus of our development has to be before we can even get to any of the more tangible, physical, practical stuff. The other stuff is easy, really, when you have these character traits under control. But like I was saying before, we don't trust each other, and a lot of times for good reason, because we've become so comfortable betraying each other for no reason. Not because the government has put us up to it, just because we don't understand the importance of a strong character. But so, like who is it that mentioned, was it you, Kim, or Georgette, putting all our money together and not worrying about somebody, running off with it. Well, that's important. We have to to feel beyond putting in, um, protective measures. We also have to be able to trust each other to even go into those kinds of joint ventures. So, yeah, I was telling you all the story about doctors at the start of tonight, and I didn't put any color on anything. And I'm not going to do that now. But, we have lots of stories about bad experiences that we have had using Black professionals and Black businesses. And, some of us gave up early on and said they weren't going to be bothered with those Black businesses and professionals. Um, but some of us continue to try to understand the barriers and limitations that often lead to lesser goods and services or more expensive goods and services. But the reality is it's unsustainable. is unsustainable. And so without a value on excellence, we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
Well, I'm gonna give you, if I may, some pushback on the illusion of American dream. I think without that core, even the illusion, it's called an American dream because it is a dream. That's the separated from the reality of what it is. As an American, this is what you strive for, the American dream. So at the core is the dream itself. I don't think without the American excellence, without the American dream, you don't, it's kind of hard to give young people hope to strive for equality, because the illusion of the American dream is what we found the country on, and that's what we strive for, even though the document in the original didn't even have that. So I push back to say that, yeah, you should strive for the American dream, even though it's not it's not here. That's what people died for. That's what Dr. King died for. That's what people were in the slave field for. That's what they fought civil rights for. The American dream, equality, home ownership, excellence, to become the highest, hold the highest office in the land, to be equal. So this is why I push back on that.
Thank you.
Well, I have to wonder that if a place like Black Wall Street was allowed to survive and produce examples around the country, that terminology, the American dream, wouldn't be so empty for many people of color who are in this country. Because while you're telling your child, yes, you can be anything you want to be, be the best. And then in the back of your mind, you feel sort of like a hypocrite because you know already all the obstacles that are, institutional and personal obstacles that have been built and reinforced to keep them from achieving that. Even to the point where it attacks them mentally before they're even able to graduate, from high school and then perhaps college, or go on to whatever trade or profession they might decide to be in, because there's always that other worry you have to concern yourself with is, I'm good, but I'm not good enough. Because somebody else has determined what is good enough to have this job in this position, to be promoted, to the next level, because someone else has the power. And then even when that someone else looks like you, someone is telling them what to do. And I'm going to give you an example from my younger son, who was in an internship at Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And the interviewer in every, way led him to believe that he had received the next internship, which was a longer one for 2 years. And she even went so far as to tell him, oh, well, this is what you'll be making. So you don't tell someone how much you'll make if you haven't offered them the job. And then, a few days go by and suddenly she says, no, you're not. We're not giving you this job because I got feedback and they said, you didn't have good teamwork or communication skills. Well, wouldn't it have been important to raise during the first interview? So now I don't know, whether the lady who did the interview, I didn't ask my son whether she was white or black. But that just says that, now he had to learn that hard lesson that no, he was good, he did well. And during the first short internship, he was given feedback from the interviewees and his supervisors that he was doing well. And then suddenly it's taken away from him. So that's his first hard lesson about, if you're not in the group that has the power or in or favor, your small dreams will be dashed. You know, so you got to build up that tough skin so you can rebound and you redirect your energy somewhere else and not internalize it. And so, you know, I wonder if the fact that a lot of people don't know about Black Wall Street, you know, young people especially, they don't know about it. So if that is one of the things that, because they don't have this physical example in front of them of what we can do, what we can be if we work together, you know, even if you want to be, you don't have to be a separatist, you know, you can bring some other cultures in, but to see it physically and know that it works and we can work and do this would mean so much. But that we can't see it, you know, that they can't see it, that they read it in dusty history books or some obscure video online, and they say, well, why don't you know about this, mom, dad, uncle, aunt, you know? Oh, well, because it didn't happen, you know. They burned and killed people. So, you know, burned up properties and killed them, took everything ahead, you know, so we can't, you know, this is part of the PTSS, you know, we internalize, we can't do it. Because even if we get that far, somebody's going to take it away from us. How do you get past that part? You know, so that term American dream is not, you know, just cloying, false, you know, like a lump of clay on your tongue when you say it. It's not for me. I say these words, but I know it's not for me. How do you make your children feel that it is for them when they can't see an example of it?
I'm trying to get over, how do you say goodbye to Michelle Obama?
Oh, boy.
And hello to Melania Trump.
Oh, Lord. Well, wait,
Hey,
she's going to
do
stay
like-
at the Trump Palace, okay, because she needs to raise her children and take care of her, you know, I don't know, sauna time, body waxing, because so she's not going to be in the White House. Okay, that was the latest.
She don't want to respond. But you know, when you look at the American dream, how a person like Trump get anywhere is the last gasp of people really saying that, okay, you know, these people, unbeknownst to them, they don't know that their dream is being taken away by their own people. You know what I mean? You know, rich people have taken away their part of their dream. And so this is another way of scapegoating and taking our America back. Well, you're taking it back. You never lost anything. You own 90% of the wealth, so it didn't go anywhere. So there's another, you know, sleight of hand out of the same playbook. You know what I mean? Out of the same damn playbook, you know. They don't have the American dream as well. So we end up with a daggone Donald Trump, you know, which is, hey, you know, right quick, unsung, right quick. I watched something on the Smithsonian that I did not know, and you all probably already know. It was a piece called Mississippi Inferno, which was the gist of it was about Black landowners that owned over 10,000 acres of fertile land down in Mississippi, and without them having such huge buying power, so much land, that the civil rights movement would have never even happened. It's incredible. I mean, it's one of those unsung chapters in our history. If you look, it's narrated by Danny Glover. I mean, yeah, it's called Mississippi Infernos on the Smithsonian. Check that out, and it's one of those. It's incredible. But anyway,
I guess for you were saying, Michelle?
No, go ahead.
I guess for me and the American dream, and why I was curious about the question of what do we say to our children about past generations and when. Because I think that one, to be missing from the history books, and then to have well-meaning grandparents not want to share the degradation that they experience with you, it leaves you believing in this dream in a way that you have nothing to weigh it against. And so I feel like sitting down with some of my family members and telling them things that I've discovered in the last 5 years of, doing some research on the family tree.
Very important.
And I think that it just says to them, we persevere. Some of us have been murdered, but at the same time, we got up and went and then put the chicken in the pot the next day. And so even though you're in this country, you also have to be within a country within a country for yourself. That you always have to say, yes, I'm a part of America, but I'm also a part of my own community. And that's where things make more sense. So I don't know at what point do you start telling when they're teenagers, when they're young adults.
When excuse me, I'm sorry.
That's okay, but there are some tragedies that are not PG, that I don't know.
Yeah,
when
Black history that's geared toward every age.
Every age.
From the
Exactly. I started teaching my son y'all heard me say this before, when my son came back with his 3rd grade South Carolina history book, and it stated in there that the Africans they did the agriculture because they were good at it. That's when I just like, holy crap. No, son, we did this here because they beat us and they killed us, if we didn't. So I think it has been my experience with my son and every young person that I come around, that I start teaching them about the significance of our struggle and our contributions as early as I possibly can. As early as you can get that information in them about Black achievement and about the Black struggle, I think the better off. Not younger, about your family. Tell your family story as early as you can, the good, the bad, and the ugly, which I'm still trying to get out of my mama right now. You know what I mean? So as soon as you can start, that's my opinion. As soon as you can get that information into them about Black history, about our achievement, the better.
Because we are up against some very powerful
misinformation.
Overwhelming forces of misinformation. Yeah. I would like, Kim, are you done? And thank you, Leonie, for the links here. Okay, well, thank you. That was healing. I don't know what has happened to our resident poet.
Link? I'm sorry. Oh, I should go check it out.
Leonie posted a link up in that blue chat thing on the top left.
Oh, Leonie, thank you.
Yeah.
I will take that praise completely. Thank you.
Okay.
Leonie, when you're around, things get better. I don't know what has happened to our resident poet, but I would like to end session 7 with this poem. Are you all familiar with the poem "For My People" by Margaret Walker?
I don't read. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh my God! Even though my voice is like horrible. "For My People" by Margaret Walker. For my people everywhere, singing their slave songs repeatedly, their dirges and their ditties and their blues and jubilees, praying their prayers nightly to an unknown God, bending their knees humbly to an unseen power. For my people, lending their strength to the years, to the gone years, and the now years, and the maybe years. Washing, ironing, cooking, scrubbing, sewing, mending, hoeing, plowing, digging, planting, pruning, patching, dragging along, never gaining, never reaping, never knowing, and never understanding. For my playmates in the clay and dust and sand of Alabama backyards, playing baptizing and preaching and doctor and jail and soldier and school and mama and cooking and playhouse and concert and store and hair and Miss Chumby and company. For the cramped, bewildered years, we went to school to learn, to know the reasons why and the answers to and the people who and the places where and the days when, in memory of the bitter hours when we discovered we were Black and poor and small and different and nobody. Nobody cared, nobody wondered, and nobody understood. For the boys and girls who grew in spite of these things, to be man and woman, to laugh and dance and sing and play and drink their wine and religion and success, to marry their playmates and bear children and then die of consumption and anemia and lynching. For my people, thronging 47th Street in Chicago and Lenox Avenue in New York and Rampart Street in New Orleans, lost, disinherited, dispossessed, and happy people, filling the cabarets and taverns and other people's pockets and needing bread and shoes and milk and land and money and something all our own. For my people, walking blindly, spreading joy, losing time, being lazy, sleeping when hungry, shouting when burdened, drinking when hopeless, tied and shackled and tangled among ourselves by the unseen creatures who tower over us omnisciently and laugh. For my people, blundering and groping and floundering in the dark of churches and schools and clubs and societies, associations and councils and committees and conventions, distressed and disturbed and deceived and devoured by money-hungry, glory-craving leeches, preyed upon by facile force of state and fad and novelty, by false prophet and holy believer. For my people, standing, staring, trying to fashion a better way from confusion, from hypocrisy and misunderstanding, trying to fashion a world that will hold all the people, all the faces, all the Adams and Eves and their countless generations. Let a new earth rise. Let another world be born. Let a bloody peace be written in the sky. Let a second generation full of courage issue forth. Let a people loving freedom come to growth. Let a beauty full of healing and strength of final clenching be the pulsing in our spirits and our blood. Let the martial songs be written. Let the dirges disappear. Let a race of men now rise and take control. That's my favorite poem.
I'm gonna put a link for that one too.
Okay.
Here.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand it, but it was good. Yeah.
It was definitely positive. Yes, it was. Mm-hmm.
Much needed, much needed.
Mm-hmm. Great questions, Kim.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's good. They were nice and concrete.
You being sarcastic right now.
I'm just saying. I know what's going to happen next month. I'm just going to be sitting here saying, time. When it's found upon that, Joel? No, go right ahead.
Oh, I bet you'll be surprised.
You got a couple of feelings in there. You got a little couple of feelings.
No, you read it twice. You read it thrice.
Thrice. You already went. You read it once, read it twice.
and it'll click, and then we'll explain. But this book, I would say, really, the themes that come up in this book really run through everything about our community. So I am so glad we read it. Are there any overall thoughts about the book that anybody wants to share?
I was kind of hoping that she would get more into anxiety, because I think that we as a people have a lot of anxiety. So I know she talked a lot about the anger and the healing, but healing from anxiety. And I think that fuels so much addiction in us. You know, that when you got to have that drink or that cookie or that whatever, just to kind of get up in the morning and you know, put one foot in front of the other. That was just something that I wanted to hear her talk about, because some of that anxiety is passed from generation to generation, and you don't even know what you're anxious about. You just know you don't feel safe in this country.
And y'all know she wrote a workbook that is a companion to this book.
No, really?
And I think that she is working on either a second edition or a volume 2.
Wow.
This. Because there's so much, Kim, you know, there's there's so much that, you know, while I think she did a good overview, there's, you know, there's a lot of stuff. We know there's a lot.
Well, she need to hold up. She need to hold up on and write it the post-traumatic Trump syndrome.
Yeah.
Chapter 13 and shit.
It really is a level of trauma. I wish I could show you all this scene in the subway that I was talking about.
I'll put it on Facebook because I have a picture of it.
You have a picture of that?
Yeah, I'm in Union Square a lot.
Oh, yeah, put it on Facebook, please. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, okay. So I came in late. I missed it. What's the
It's like
picture?
thousands of Post-its, thousands, all over the wall, underground, at the Union Square station in New York. And I think that's an area where they had one of the marches or protests, you know, related to, they do protest in that area a lot. So I think that's where they were related to Trump. But anyway, all these Post-its are about Trump.
This is one. I don't know if you can see the phone. No. Like that's one. Love Trump hate.
Yes.
And then when you push back on it, that's a wall of just those Post-its.
Yes.
Wow.
And it just
goes all the way. People just saying how unhappy they are with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll put those on. I'll send them to you through a message in Facebook, and you can put them wherever you want.
Thank you.
Okay.
So yeah, you're right, Joel. There's gonna need to be. I'm sure there's gonna be all kinds of psychological books written about the trauma. Has anybody seen Hillary? I mean,
last time I saw her, she was heading for the Underground Railroad.
Into Canada, right? No.
I know if I was telling you, I would not be studying that, you people.
I saw an interview with her saying that she had to hide under the covers. It was just the wrong thing to say.
Yeah.
I was just like, you stupid. Okay, I'm sorry. It was just the wrong thing to say.
No,
but you know, all that means is that the people who told her she was going to win lied. They had something up their sleeve, okay?
Yeah.
She won the popular vote, so this was a close call.
Well, I mean, not to relive that, but how in the hell do you not go to Michigan, Philadelphia? I mean, if that's your firewall, why didn't you just spend the last 3 months going to every town and village in those places? You know what I mean? I mean, how can there be over 600,000 unregistered African American voters in Georgia? You know, like when 600,000, and then they lose Georgia by 200,000. Okay, what we did in '08 for President Obama, they knew South Carolina was going to lose. So what they were doing in South Carolina, they were busing people from Charleston and other parts of South Carolina into North Carolina to walk and knock on doors and get people registered to vote, and he won North Carolina. So why wasn't that type of effort done from South Carolina to go down in Georgia and register people as well? So I think, when you get down to, what did the email say that Colin Powell said about her? Her humorness, she always just jacks it up because she's have this her self-worth and self-esteem and self-confidence gets in her way. She screws it up. And that's how she did. First thing she did, first executive thing that she didn't do was get Bernie. That was the first dumb thing. That was downhill all the way.
Yes.
Yes.
So you judge a
Yes.
president, by the first executive thing they do. McCain, Sarah Palin. So he lost right there. Okay.
Yes.
So,
First,
were you a Hillary supporter, Joel?
yeah.
Okay.
But I also was a Bernie supporter too. I mean, it was clear to me that you picked Bernie because he was pulling 30,000 people. Somehow or another, this old dude was getting them young people, man. Them young people loved him to death.
Yeah, no, I like Bernie too, but Bernie did not survive the politics of the primary process.
But
And
There's an interesting.
which was
Hillary-
interesting in itself because they were skewed her way.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying Hillary was the Democratic candidate. So, I just personally, I'm not telling you what to do. I just personally, at this point, don't want to put my energy into beating up on.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
On Hillary.
No, I'm not beat up on it. This is my first time explaining it.
I don't think she did everything right either, but nevertheless, we got a much bigger monster to worry about with orange hair and an ugly face. And what did you say, Georgette? Little hand.
Got little hands. Got little feet. Yeah.
Yes.
Saturday Night Live had a skit this weekend about him as president.
Huh?
Saturday Night Live had this skit of Donald Trump as president.
Uh-huh.
And so maybe 5 or 6 people come in to visit him. And it's hysterical if you get to see it, because at one point a general comes in and says, "Okay, I'm so grateful. I'm so happy that you're here. Tell us your secret plan to defeat ISIS." And he says, "I'll tell you the secret when it's time to tell the secret." And the general leaves. So he gets on his phone. He says, "Siri, what is ISIS?" And then he goes and he Googles secrets to win over or destroy ISIS. And it was just funny.
Oh my goodness.
No, yeah, we got big problems coming down the pipe.
Yes.
So I say let Hillary co-wound.
Jeff Sessions, that's the problem. Oh my God. Hey, when you got a 69-year-old a man from Alabama that's gonna be your attorney general, oh my God. That's bad.
With the attorney general.
Didn't we say Hillary was 69 years old and was about to be our president? Joel, you're not gonna be bashing old people up here.
No. No, listen to what I said.
What?
A 69-year-old white man from Alabama is going to be the attorney general. That's never a good thing. He goes back. Huh?
Isn't that the one position where he has to be confirmed?
Yeah, but he's a senator.
Lynch, huh?
Yeah, but he's a senator.
Lynch, when she was going to be the attorney general,
Right.
they held that up for about 8 months.
Yeah, but he's a senator, and they've already said, well, you know what? He's a shoe-in. I'm like, this guy's a freaking racist. They wouldn't confirm him as a federal judge.
Everybody
There's still Democrats in the government. So, and even though Paul Ryan is saying that he calls this country now the new Republican government. That's what he called it. And the way he said it, it was just scary the way he said it. He says that we're not going to let Obama put through any bills or anything before he leaves because he's not elected. That's what he said, that Obama's not elected.
Oh, boy.
Well, the thing to really watch for is when they start putting these people up who have to get confirmed, is what Democrats are going to start voting for these people who are known racist, sexual predators, because if you have a lot of Democrats voting for them, then you know you're really in trouble.
You're really in trouble. And Leonie, you are exactly right. That's the thing that we really have to do. We have to, you know, if they're going to confirm these people, they need to confirm them on party lines. We need to see which Democrats are just going to go in and shake the hands and be like, okay, we're going to confirm them. You know what I mean? Who's going to stand up against them? And then because the ones that just go ahead and let it happen, we need to get rid of them the next election too. You know?
Yes.
Bernie had his anti-Trump rally today.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be something.
Well,
anyway, Anita was.
You don't have to buy something. Don't buy it. Put your money in your mattress. Save it.
Okay, you're right. Right.
Yeah.
We may have to make a dash to Leonie's place.
Yeah.
Well, as Benita would say, at least we have each other.
Yes.
So that is good. You all have good holidays. Happy Thanksgiving.
Turkey Day.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All of that.
Send some turkey wings down. I'll eat them.
Anybody traveling anywhere during the holidays?
No.
Other than us all going up to Leonie's house.
We already had Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow.
It's Christmas and Kwanzaa and a whole bunch of other reasons.
We'll make up a holiday.
Our Thanksgiving was 6 weeks ago, but that's all right.
Okay.
But we need to think
Good night,
about
everybody.
a new name for Thanksgiving, because you know it should be Indigenous People Day or something.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you could see how much they're appreciating the Native Americans because they're, what is it? They're throwing rubber bullets, shooting rubber bullets.
Oh, yeah.
Closing them down.
Pipeline. North Dakota.
Yep. What's it called? What did Joel say it's called? The New Republic?
Yeah, the new Republican.
The new Republican government.
Government, yeah.
Republican government.
All
It's
right.
a shit show. That's what it is.
Yes, it is.
That's my favorite.
Yes.
Joel.
Yes.
All right. Well, happy New Year, you all. I will see you on January 10th.
All right. Everybody stay safe and stay positive. See you
Stay
later.
positive. We should have a holiday meeting or something where we all come on for the holiday. I don't want to not talk.
Okay.
We almost made it out, Georgette.
Well, you know, if Anita was here, she'd probably say that same thing. So
I know.
we got to work on something.
We should have a Trump update in January.
It's
Trump
update.
update.
Spirit. Okay.
Hey, do it on let me see, December the 19th. December the 20th. December the 19th is when the Electoral College confirming.
Oh.
Yeah.
December the 19th is the confirmation.
Yeah, that's when the Electoral College, that's when they actually send the vote in to vote for him.
Ah, so you're saying we should meet on December 20th?
Yeah.
Tuesday, the 20th?
Yeah.
That sounds good, Joel.
That sounds good.
Hey, Dr. King got a holiday. I can have a good idea.
Yeah, and we can see because I'm still trying to be optimistic, holding on to hope that something's gonna happen with the electoral college. They're gonna change their mind and vote for Hillary.
Ooh, you talking about Klansman head exploding.
Ooh, boy.
I think they're pretty confident. I just got a news alert that Steve Bannon said the N-word, only he didn't say N-word on CNN this evening.
Oh,
He did.
How do you say the N-word without saying the N-word?
The N-I-G-G word.
Oh, he said it? Well, that might get him out of there.
He said the actual word.
Oh my God.
On CNN?
Yep, it made the person who was interviewing him cry.
Oh my goodness.
What?
I'm gonna have to look for that clip.
Oh,
Oh boy.
When did he say that? Today?
Yeah.
Today, I'm going to put a clip.
Oh, that should get him out of there then. Huh? Oh, they're going to raise so much.
Yeah, but what about all his racist followers? Everybody,
it doesn't matter. We got to cut
your weapons.
the head off.
Okay.
You got to get the head out of there. You got to get the head out. That's a victory.
Well, we thought the same thing when
so.
Donald Trump was talking about women's private parts, remember?
Yeah, and suddenly now it's okay to grab.
Yeah.
It's a new thing. Okay. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Happy holidays.
Have a good month. Until we meet again. Okay.
Till we meet again.
Bye-bye.